Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chasing Optimum. I've been keen for this one. I've been looking for a free diver for a while, and I've got Dan Parsons here. I'm going to tell you all about him. Hey Dan.
Hello.
Hello. You're a very accomplished free diver.
I am.
Yeah. So you train trainers.
I train trainers.
You run retreats. You have courses. Mm-hmm. There's something about Olympic slalom team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Were you in it or trained them?
I was definitely not in it.
Okay.
We trained the Olympic canoeing slalom team, and we also got to train Jess Fox.
Yeah, right.
That was a long time ago, but that was really cool.
Awesome.
The great thing about working with like Olympians or athletes is that they spend their whole lives training.
Yeah.
So when you get them in the water and you say, let's do this, they do it. They do it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I should have been some sort of athlete in the life because I love the discipline and consistency part. So what do you do now? Like we were just talking before we got on. So your main thing, and you said you're picked for the governing body of freediving Australia. So tell us a bit about what you're doing.
So currently I'm an instructor trainer. So meaning that basically I can teach people from absolute beginner all the way through to instructor level where they could create their own business. So I could help someone start their own business. And now I've been picked to become an instructor training director. So meaning I could create someone like me. So I basically start something big for someone.
So really all levels you're qualified for?
All levels, yeah. So it's it's not as simple as just going out and getting it. You do go through the ringer a little bit.
And you've been doing it for more than 12 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things, time just gets away. So, 12 years, I'm almost a bit of a dinosaur in the industry.
So how did you start freediving? And what is freediving? So just I know people have an idea of it.
I've got an idea, yeah. It's a bit more mainstream now. So freediving is essentially holding your breath and whether it's just breath holding face down in the water, swimming distance in the water or swimming depth. Diving depth, and there's a few different disciplines, but it's just holding your breath and diving. You don't have to dive deep; it's just diving.
Yeah. And I'll talk about all different ones because I was watching a thing the other day with people in a pool holding their breath, like some world record pump or something. So it's Tara driving away. But the deep, what do you like the best? And
what do I like the best?
Yeah,
I like a constant wave bifins dive. So just kicking down the line. What we see is nothing. You either see the line whizzing by your eyes or your eyes are closed. The feeling that you get is it's a level of relaxation that you can't explain. So like once you nail it and you know how to relax and switch off, it is deep, it is relaxing, it is you get back to the surface and you don't want to come up. We call them unicorn dives because every now and again they show up and you chase them. It's like a drug, I guess. You're chasing this high, this feeling that comes from it. It's powerful. It's really cool.
So how do you start? How did you start actually?
How did I start?
Yeah. How did you get into freediving? Just jump in the water one day, hold your breath. And
my brother said to me, he said, "Hey Dan, do you want to come and do this course? We could do it for big wave surfing." And I pretty much put out my cigarette and said, "Yeah, let's do it."
What, you smoked?
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
So I went there. I did the course. I failed it. I was petrified. We jumped in a boat. We went out to sea to dive, and it's not often you jump in a boat, go out to sea. Completely out of my comfort zone. I failed the course, but the trainer, he said, "Hey Dan, I'm moving to Egypt. You should come. I'm going there to train full time." And I gave it about 12 hours thought, and I quit my job, sold my car, and moved to Egypt.
What do you mean? Like what? Why?
So in Egypt, there's this place. It's on the Red Sea. It's a little town called Dahab. And they've got a blue hole there, which is 100 plus meters deep, just off the shore. So it's like the freediving mecca. You just go there and all the top guys are there. That's where you train freediving.
What, diving in that one hole?
Diving in that one hole. So it's a little town called Dahab. Off the shore, you can get like 40 plus meters depth here or there. And then just out of town, short 20-minute car ride, then you've got this crazy blue big hole.
Talk us through the blue hole. What is it?
It is it's just like this big coral, beautiful thing, but a hole. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but like 15 meters off the shore, you've got 90 meters depth. 20 meters off the shore, you're 100. You know, it's in the.
So is it just sitting in the ground, or is it like?
Yeah. So
like, how is it? It was in the water, and then you go
in the
down.
water. So you look out, you can see water. 3 or 4 meters underwater is reef, but you can see an outline of a big hole,
Or under the reef.
Yeah. So then it's like a cylinder. So like the water's here, then you've got this cutout.
Yeah.
That goes all the way down, and then at 55 meters, there's another tunnel that goes out to the open ocean. So there's a lot of like videos and docos and stuff like that. Yeah.
And so why do people like that one? Like there's a lot of deep oceans around.
It's protected from the wind, the swell, current.
So it's
So
peaceful.
it's all that sort of stuff. It's peaceful, and it's cheap. Freedivers usually don't have a lot of money.
Not much cost in holding your breath.
Yeah. It's such an addictive sport, but like you can't be like training like hard, and you can't be working full time and doing freediving. It's one or the other, you know. So you get a lot of people that they'll work for 6 months and then they'll go and focus all of their life into just training freediving.
So did you just stay in Egypt for a prolonged period?
Yeah, I
What
just stayed there
happened
for 6 months as a beginner freediver. I was young, I had not a lot going on, and I just did that.
How long ago was that?
2012, I think. Yeah, so I just did that, stayed there. I started to get the hang of it and get a good feel for it. I came back to Australia and I couldn't stop thinking about freediving. I did about 6 months' work, and then I decided I'm going back.
To Egypt?
Back to Egypt, back to the same place, yeah. And then from then on, all my surf trips slowly turned to freediving trips, and my whole life changed. The cigarettes disappeared, and, you know, it's just this really beautiful, healthy lifestyle, good people. It's not like surfing, you know, like surfing is very like, can be like a bit like argy-bargy, I guess, or like calling your mate a pussy for not catching the wave. When I was there, I had like a really bad dive one day. I came up, I thought everyone was just going to give me a hard time. Someone patted me on the back and they said, "It's okay, Dan. We'll come back tomorrow."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they're like supportive.
Supportive, yeah.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. I'd never experienced that.
Yeah. It sort of feels like a bit like that rock climbing with free solo type of community.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone's like behind you.
everyone's behind. Well, it's a very individual sport. It's like not like we can get in the water and say, I beat Matt.
Yeah.
We come from two different lifestyles. We approach life differently. We can't really verse each other like that, right? You know, it's a very individual sport.
So how long can you hold your breath for?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. And then so obviously there's a journey to that for that to happen.
It's called the breath hold journey.
Tell us about it.
So the breath hold journey usually starts quite relaxed and peaceful. So one of the things with our breath, when we exhale a byproduct called carbon dioxide, right? Our body has a lot of sensors for carbon dioxide. So when we hold our breath, our mouth is closed and we're not getting rid of that carbon dioxide anymore. So as carbon builds within the body, these alarm bells start to ring. So in the very beginning, when you hold your breath, it's beautiful. It's really nice. After time, you know, I'm sure you've held your breath before, and then maybe 30, 40, maybe a minute in.
I do the Wim Hof beginner.
Okay.
But we'll talk about it. I'm more interested to hear about that.
You get like a little bit of a panic, more or less, or an urge to breathe. Yeah, you get the diaphragmatic contractions. You'll get like a feeling of tightness in the throat, and of course anxiety. So your body is really smart. It tries to tell you to not do a certain thing to keep you safe, right? So yeah, the breath hold journey starts, and then the urge to breathe starts, and then it gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So yeah, I can hold my breath for 5 minutes. You could hold your breath for 5 minutes.
Probably die.
You would probably.
I struggle on the third round of Wim Hof beginner.
You probably would never speak to me again if you did a 5 minute breath hold off the bat, because the breath hold journey can become almost traumatic. All right. So
tell us about that. So when it's starting and you're getting so you're holding your breath and you get that, I don't know what you call it. That
diaphragmatic contractions. Yeah.
How do you get past that?
So
how do you manage it?
How do I manage it? So I call it progressive playful exposure, right? So it's not like you don't go to the gym and lift your max weight, right? You warm up, you slowly get into it. So for me, I do a couple of warm-up breath holds, let's say 1 minute, 2 minutes. They're breath holds that are really easy to me and they feel great. So it's about creating positive thought patterns within the mind. So I do it, feels good. I work myself up. I'm like, yeah, I've got this.
So like a 2 minute and nothing for you?
Yeah, that's a great breath hold. It's beautiful.
And is that with air out or in? Like in.
Full lungs.
Okay.
So Wim Hof is exhale.
Exhale. Yeah. So, okay.
Two different.
What's the difference?
Wim Hof is it's like high level hyperventilation or fire breathing. So you're actually getting rid of, every time you exhale, you're getting rid of carbon dioxide. We just spoke about carbon dioxide actually giving you the urge to breathe. So when you hold your breath on exhale after hyperventilating, you don't actually get the urge to breathe like you would as if you did it full lungs or without hyperventilation. So two completely different things. Basically, Wim Hof breathing has no place in freediving because it can have adverse effects, or you could black out sooner than if you did it on full lungs or without hyperventilation. Yep.
So keep going with the 2 minute one. So what you do a 2 minute?
Yeah, I do a 2 minute,
yeah.
and then I go. So it's like we've got an inbuilt breath hold mode. Everyone's got it in the whole world. It's a really cool thing. It's called the mammalian diving reflex, or short-term adaptations, whatever you want to call it. But basically, once this engages, your body does like a blood shift to get oxygen-rich blood to your core and to your brain for vital systems. Your spleen will contract and release blood cells to enhance oxygen transportation. So the body starts making all these changes, and it actually helps you and assists you to hold your breath longer and more comfortably. You know, like there's a whole range of things for like even diving deep, you know, like your lungs will extract the blood plasma out, and your lungs will bloat with blood, and it allows the lungs to hold their shape as they dive down, you know. Like I can dive 50 meters deep, whereas the world record guys, they're doing like 136 meters deep. There's a rumor of someone doing 140 in training. You know, the pressure that your lungs will go under for doing something like that is incredible.
What about your ears as well?
Your ears? What are your ears are like relative, you know, like you just equalize every single meter.
Just go like that?
Yeah, you pinch your nose.
And does it ever get so much that you think, oh, what if my ears don't equalize? And
no, so like if you,
because I've tried it and I find it very, not freediving, but when I'm just,
I
don't know, deeper and you go like that with Sully, you know, a friend of yours, you know, not
with Sully,
yeah, Sully's like the athlete of the world,
and
then I used to do it with him, but I found it hard to equalize. So do you ever get? Does it ever get so much that it's hard to equalize?
No, so like once you master, well, every free diver, their limiting factor is either going to be their equalization or the mental game.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about your mental game after. But
yeah, we can do that.
Keep going.
I want to bring you along to a course.
Okay. 2 meters.
2 meters. Oh, we'll see. So equalization, you're just going to do it every single meter. The idea is that you want to take the same level of relaxation from the surface to the bottom of your dive. There's not much point. Like before a dive, I'm more or less feeling like I'm asleep. I don't want to take that into a dive and be 2 meters underwater and making my head feel like it's going to explode. Then using all my might to pop my ears, then trying to get relaxed and keep going. So you're going to equalize before you feel the pressure build up. You know, like equalization is seamless, it's easy, it's light, it's very light.
So it sounds like you're putting yourself into a zone before you even start this.
Yes.
Okay.
You become very body aware. When I was young, I didn't know you could become body aware. When I started the sport, I thought I was relaxed. People was always telling me I need to relax more. I look back on that, I was not relaxed. All right. Now I have the ability to switch off for dives, but I believe in 5 years or 10 years, still pursuing the sport, I'll look back on this and think, you know what? I wasn't relaxed then. So
can I ask on this note? Because like people go into the day, you know, frantic, chaos, just a normal day. So it sounds like you relax before you need to, and not try and manage the relax, like not try and bring relax. Because I've always found that hard when people go, like public speaking, for instance, people go, just be relaxed. But it sounds like you've got this whole thing going on. You bring the relaxed into it rather than try and, like you say, force. Because I've always found, how do you relax when you like so much anxiety?
It's a hard thing. Like the public speaking thing's hard, you know. Sometimes you get up and you nail it. You go flow state. It's not an issue. Other times you get up and you're like, oh, retarded. Shit. Yeah, I know. Like, fuck, my voice is wobbling and blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know, it can happen anytime. I don't know. Sometimes you nail it. Sometimes you don't.
Is that the same with your free dives? Maybe in the earlier stages?
In the early days. It's my bread and butter now. So you've got a zone. It's probably like you on selling a house.
Yeah. So if you've got a free dive coming up, what's your preparation?
Preparation?
Like as in, if you got a deep one?
Yeah.
So
if I'm away, so like if I'm doing a deep dive, I'll do like 2 weeks of training in the lead up to it. So like lots of repetition dives, not deep dives, 20s, 30s, 40s, 45s. I will work on equalization. I'll work on lung flexibility. I'll work on my mental game. I'll do a little bit of cardio or weightlifting. And then when you're sort of getting ready to do a personal best, then you start backing off those things because you've done the base training. Your mind's in a good state. And then, and then, you know, the day of, like you do your same routine, like wake up, like have some water, light fruit, nothing too acidic. And then you go and do lung stretching, light breath work, get out in the water.
What's a lung stretch?
Lung stretch is like, so there's different variations, but for instance, you'd take a breath in and then do some stretching. So stretching the thoracic cavity. You could do it on exhale. There's a whole.
You just hold it and go like that?
Yeah. So you're like essentially squishing or stretching that airspace so that you get more outward flexibility so you can take a bigger breath so that when you dive deep underwater, your lungs can handle the pressure. So there's a whole range of things, and as you know, the body loves routine and doing the same thing over and over, and you just get into your zone. Same thing with diving, you know, my warm-up dive. So I'll get out there. The plan is to go 50 plus. I'll do a dive to 15 meters and I'll stay there for almost 3 minutes. Just stay there at 15 meters. All right. And
just sit there.
Yeah. Just sit there 15 meters deep, switch off, relax, body scans, all that sort of stuff. Come back up, have a rest. Someone else will do a dive. Then I'll get back to my go. I'll do like a 28, 29, 30 meter dive with a small hang there. After that, I'm feeling pretty good. So like, as we spoke about briefly before, the mammalian diving reflex, you know, you hold your breath, you get a nice blood shift. So you get a lot of blood around the core and the brain. You can hold your breath longer and more comfortably. And then it's go time.
What's your deepest dive ever?
It's 51.
It's 150 feet, is it? Or something like that. Times 3.3 times 50. Yeah. It's like it's deep. So it's Olympic pool plus.
Yeah.
Deep.
Yeah. So this year I'm going for 60. I've booked in some training from a coach over in Mexico. And
so you have a coach yourself?
No. So I'm just paying like a high level guy. Yeah, for that. So
what would he teach you?
Mental strategies and equalization strategies.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you're doing a deep dive, do you focus on the end or the steps?
Definitely not the end. Yeah. So I want to that is a goal, but I'm focusing on mindfulness and being completely present. So everything that I'm doing 100% and I'm visualizing it being 100%, you know, like from the duck dive. The duck dive is 100%. The arm stroke straight away is 100%. It feels good. It looks good. I focus on every single bit. Equalizing, that was a great equalization, you know, just focusing on it, body scans, relaxing the muscles, keeping that mind empty. I think like if you start thinking about future discomforts, I guess it's like, you know, you do a solid workout and you know the next set is like how grueling it's going to be. You start thinking about it, you focus on it and it becomes harder.
And your brain turns off of it.
Yeah.
It's like the ice bath.
You know, you can go, I could just pull out here or I could just, you know, and it's a big thing in freediving doing an early turn.
Can I ask about that?
Yeah.
Because your brain tends to just source comfort.
Yeah.
And so you manage that by just focus, because the reason I ask is so many times we do stuff and your brain says, it's all right, you've done enough, don't worry about it.
You don't have to do that. It's safer up there. You should get a coffee. You should do that. So going back to progressive playful exposure, like so you do like lots of 40s, then you go 42, then 43. So the progression is small and easy, and you're only stepping outside of your comfort zone just a step. So easy progressions, that's a great thing for freedivers, It's very common that you get people that go, all right, I've done 15 meters, I'm going to try 20, and then after that, I'm going to try 25. That is when you'll see someone have a meltdown. That's when you'll see an early turn. You go, oh, it's only 20 meters deep, it's only 25 meters deep. But you watch someone, you can watch their whole demeanor change as their preparation, the breathing gets quicker, they're more panicked, the goal is the end. Equalization will stop, mental gain stops, it all falls apart.
Yeah, absolutely. When you go down and you're down at the deepest part that you've been or where you're at, do you start thinking to yourself, I can go a bit more? Like, or do you start worrying I'm too deep? Will I get higher?
I think, and it's quite common, you'll have the lines set to a certain depth. You'll get there, and because you can't go any deeper, you'll be like, oh my God, I should have had the line deeper. I could have fucking done that. This is so-and-so's fault for not, anyway. But then, you go down there and the line is longer and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
It's just how it's, how your mind perceives it, and it's just luck of the draw. For me, I'm quite a conservative diver. I'm not about chasing big numbers or big durations. I want things to feel really good. That's just me. That's my style. Other people are very driven. Other people do have that ability to just push through the pain and just like have really dirty, nasty feelings and be okay with it. But it's an individual sport.
So you know how when you get anxious, it uses your oxygen more, like when you panic or if you use too much, what would you call it, like force or something, instead of gliding and relaxing, because the more relaxed, we had Mark Matthews on and he was talking about being relaxed in big waves. But when you start panicking or your brain starts working a bit faster, you use more oxygen.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you manage the nerves before a big dive, or how do you
positive self-talk, having a plan. So you've got a plan for it. You've got a dive plan. So the dive itself is broken down into spots. You're going to think about different things in different areas. Managing it.
So the more prepared you are,
the more prepared you are. But
by the sounds of it.
But 100%. You've got to be prepared for what you're doing. You've got to have more or less been very close to that depth before and done repetition.
Right.
So like it's all very like once you start going down past that, like my plan is to do 60 this year. I'm going to do like a 52, do a 54. But I'm going to do 4 54s. Then I'm going to do 4 56s. And then I'm going to,
And you get used to.
Yeah. Depth adaptation. So the pressure, the feelings, it's easy enough to do like a 10-meter dive and go, all right, I'm going to do a 12-meter dive. But when it's like getting deeper, then you start thinking, all right, I'm going to swim in an Olympic swimming pool down, plus a bit more, then come back and why do I do this? I don't know why I do this, So the mind is, as we said, very good. It makes sure it keeps you safe and it doesn't want to put you in harm's way. It won't let you put yourself in harm's way. So why would it let you do that? So
So it sounds like you acclimate, and get good at that level, and then a bit more,
and a bit more,
and a bit more,
yeah.
Not that you're not interested in the big jumps. You're interested in becoming better and better and better slowly.
So like if you have a bad experience in freediving, it can be really detrimental to what you're doing. Like it can
kill you.
It can kill you. I see it happen all the time. People push too hard, they get scared, and then they're either done with freediving or they're only doing like 20-meter dives. They're trying to rewrite all those really negative feelings because it does become traumatic.
What happens on the movies? I watched a documentary recently, and I've seen the other sports ones that they do, and they go into paralyzed or something when they come up, and they have to get. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
It's called a loss of motor control. So not enough oxygen to support normal bodily function. So I've never blacked out, but I have had one of these. So you hold your breath for long enough, your oxygen levels drop low enough. You will have not enough oxygen to support normal bodily function, meaning you will have an LMC, loss of motor control, and you just start shaking. So you can't control it. It is a very weird experience. It's like some people know it's happening, some people don't know it's happening, but you have no control. In the ocean, if and this is one of the big killers for spearfishermen, they'll go out by themselves, do a little dive. It's a little bit too long. They'll come up, they'll have a loss of motor control on the surface. You know, a lot of people will be spearfishing by themselves, and this is where the big no-no is. You've got a lot of sensors on your eye ducts and on your lips, and those sensors, they register for moisture, so your body knows when you're in the water, and they register for gases, so they know when you're in the atmosphere. If you're having a loss of motor control, you can't control, and your face touches water, it just turns to a blackout like that. And then when you're unconscious, the only way you can wake up from a blackout is if you're dry. So if we held our breath here and held our breath till we blacked out, we'd just wake up ourselves. But if you're in the water, the only way that you'll wake up is if someone physically gets you and wakes you up.
Really?
Yeah, so people that dive by themselves and spearfish by themselves are really pushing the boundaries. Like it is not cool. I've lost friends in this industry, and it's always from complacency or egos getting in the way. I know a guy that died just recently from spearfishing. You know, and I think in any industry, the biggest killer is complacency and bending the rules a little. You know, so freediving is a very safe sport if you follow the golden rules, which is like don't hyperventilate, always dive with someone. You know, they're two pretty simple rules. You know, yeah,
sort of.
Yeah, don't be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone was to go to a business meeting, so a lot of my audience is, you know, corporates, fitness people, business people. But if someone was to go to a business meeting, is there a breathing thing that they can do to prepare themselves for just to feel more centered?
More centered.
Or anything that you do like before it? Yeah.
I get a whole audience to do an exercise with me. So it gives me an opportunity to like give something of value to the group that they can use in their day-to-day life and identify stress. But it also gives me a second to, it's okay.
Yeah.
And then once you give people something like that straight away, then they're interested.
And what is it?
It's a really cool trick where, do you want to do it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Jackson can't because he's sick, so I don't want him breathing everywhere.
All right, so hands on your knees.
Yeah.
And we're just going to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Just relax. So I want you to, we're going to take a breath in.
In the nose?
Just anyway. And then just sigh. We're going to reset. That's it. We're just going to chill. Just breathe in. So now we're going to turn our hands so our palms are facing the roof. And we're just going to breathe. No specific way. I just want you to breathe. All right. Now we're going to go hands down. So each time we change, I want you to look for a very slight change in your breath. It's slight, and you're doing it really well already. All right, let's go hands up. Have you picked it?
Goes longer.
Yeah. Let's go hands down. Yeah, perfect.
Goes shallower.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the arms up went like more like that.
Yeah.
And the other one was more. Yeah.
It's cool.
Wow. How did that happen?
How did that happen?
Like,
So
what's happening there? Talk us through it.
it's great.
That was really good.
If you do that to a group of say 50 people, 100, I did it with 100 people at a workshop I ran in Sydney, and you watch the sea of people, their breathing change just from this. I like yogis have a different view on it. My view is like it's to do with our body's fight, flight, freeze mechanism, right? So hands down, it's almost like you're closed off to the world,
Yeah.
fight mode.
Yeah.
which would encourage a stress response, which is upper chest. So your chest, it's a shorter breath, heart rate goes up, bad for anxiety. Okay? When our hands are like this, you're vulnerable, you're open, you're allowing people into life. This encourages that diaphragmatic breath.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. So if you had a smartwatch on and you were diaphragmatic breathing versus chest breathing, your diaphragmatic breath would have a lower heart rate.
So when do you use that technique?
When do I use that?
Yeah.
So I use that when I'm on a laptop all day, every day with my hands down, dealing with stress.
Yeah, right.
Dealing with all sorts of stuff. There's not as many dream catchers as I initially thought in freediving. So dealing with stress. So I deal with stress and then I'm like, heightened. I think about where I'm breathing.
Yes.
If it's a chest breath, it's not helping me. Diaphragmatic breath, it's helping me.
So is that just sitting there with the arms, the hands up for a while, or you put them down then up, like exactly like you did? Like if you've been doing this all the time?
No, I just think about it. So I redirect my breath. So naturally with my hands like this, it's going to encourage a chest breath. But if I am dealing with stress and I'm like, hey, Dan, just slow it down, think about a diaphragmatic breath and we'll keep cruising.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go.
No,
phenomenal.
It's cool. It's a really simple, easy one. A lot of the breathing that I do with like services, so I've worked a lot with the police and kids, that breathing is about a different style of breathing that I've got will put you to sleep.
Right.
Like it gets you really relaxed, really cruisy. It's good.
Sorry about the dog. Right. Come on. So if you happen to panic, so if you're in a dive and you happen to panic, it's just not a good day for you. Like you're just not in the zone exactly. So how do you manage that?
How do I manage that?
What do you do? Do you just pull out?
Yeah. Well, I think there's, like if you're not feeling it and it's not feeling good for my style of diving, I turn around. I got to listen to my brain. I got to listen to my body. Some days we wake up and we're great and we perform. Other days we wake up and we're shit.
Yeah.
So take it as that, because I know if I just force it, it's going to take me so long to rewrite all those negative feelings that you get with a big dirty dive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Can I ask one last thing on breathing, and then I want to talk to you about all these other things you're doing. But when I go deep down, only sometimes it just doesn't. There's a bit at the end that opens up a bit more. It's like is it like the diaphragm or something? Yeah, and sometimes I just can't get it deep enough. Is that because I'm not relaxed enough?
The deep enough could be like a mental thing.
Yeah, okay.
But we break it into 3 sections. So we've got the belly, we've got the intercostals, and the chest. So once you sort of master that, then you segment your final breath, we call it.
So what's the perfect breath then?
The perfect breath is like filling up the stomach 100%. Moving on to the intercostals, we can make it bigger than that.
Yeah, I know. See?
So, like, to give you an idea, the intercostals.
You do one.
Me do one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, gee. Okay.
So, really letting the belly.
I could see it going.
Yeah. So, like, to give you an idea, like the diaphragm here, like you give it a little bit of pressure. So that's just one section. So you've got 3 sections, and once you break it down and you learn how to use them, then you can really make your breath work for me.
Yeah, right.
Work for you, Like the bigger the breath you take, the more air you've got to power your body for the duration of the dive, more air you've got for equalization, and the more air you've got for buoyancy on the way up. Like taking a breath like that for surfers, that's powerful. If you can do that quick, that's going to help you get back to the surface really quick.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So the oxygen in your blood is important, obviously, the level of oxygen, how healthy you are.
Yeah.
So if someone's smoking, for instance, and, tell us about that.
So I would say, I used to smoke.
Yeah.
I've done a 40-meter dive. I've had a cigarette before doing a 40-meter dive.
Really?
Yeah. There's actually quite a few people in the industry that smoke.
Gee.
Once you start going deeper and you want to perform, then you'd have to back off that. But it actually changes your blood pH level. So a guy that used to work for me, he was talking about a training dive that happened in Thailand, and a guy was trying to do some requirements and he just couldn't get them, but he was a smoker. So one, he had this addiction feeling where all he could think about was getting some nicotine. So he had a cigarette. The addiction feeling had gone away, all those cravings. And then it also changes your blood pH level. So it made the blood more acidic, which in turn allows you to hold your breath and not feel as much of an urge to breathe.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So short term, it can help.
Hold your breath a little bit more.
Yeah. Long term, no good. Obviously, of course, we know that.
Yeah.
So before I did say the two limiting factors for people in freediving, mental game and equalization. I'm not even thinking about smoking. So like I had years ago a woman called Shazza. She came along to a course. She was doing the course for anxiety. She was a heavy smoker.
You have a course for anxiety?
No. She just came along and was using my
for
course.
her anxiety, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you could 100% use it for anxiety. We had another fellow come along and he was a Wim Hof coach and he was like a buffed, ripped, like that's what he did. During our static session, so holding your breath face down in the water, his name was Alessandro, I think, he kept coming up at like 50 seconds a minute, whereas Sharon kept doing it 1 minute 40, 2 minutes. He was mega ripped and strong and trained his whole life, and Sharon drank a lot of wine and smoked a lot of ciggies. What's the difference there, right? So the smoking, yes, like helps short term. However, Alessandro doing bulk Wim Hof and always breath holding on exhale, he didn't have the ability to deal with high levels of carbon dioxide anymore.
Yeah, wow.
So he'd almost like too much Wim Hof can have an adverse effect on your breath holding ability.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. And it was just like, it was such a win for Sharon because she was doing the course for her anxiety and everything else. So, and it was really nice to see her get a good win. But then also on the other hand, it was just like, wow, this guy trains hard and he just can't get it.
So what about the mental side of things for you? Like how do you just keep talking yourself through, keep going? Like what do you switch off, do you?
Yeah, I switch off. So it's about good body position, chin tucked in, rolling those shoulders forward, protecting the lungs because you don't want to feel any pressure building up in there. Definitely don't want pressure in the throat or the neck. And, you know, like just because you're going to get to this point where it's called the free fall. So the gases in your lungs will shrink enough. You'll start becoming what we call negatively buoyant and you start sinking. So this is an opportunity to relax. So you don't have to kick anymore. You're only creating minimal amounts of carbon dioxide. And then you just start sinking.
So when you turn your mind off, what you must be thinking about something. Like what do you channel your thought to? Like whether someone's in an ice bath or they're in a sauna or they're freediving, it's similar-ish. I mean, probably freediving's a bit different. So it's
just nothing.
Nothing.
It's just like a monkey with cymbals.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. It's just sometimes it just switches off and you get to the bottom. There's like the ball at the bottom or the stopper. You get there and it gives you a fright. And you're like, whoa, I'm here.
Yeah, right.
How'd I get here? And and then
so you just like almost focus inwards and just forget about it.
That's what I mean. Like everyone is just chasing this high, this feeling of just switching off, you know, and it's beautiful. You know, people come in, how was your dive? Oh, so good. That's all they'll say. And they'll be on a high for the rest of the day or even like a few days after.
I bet.
Yeah.
And what's the best place you've ever dove? What's or your favourite? Or
my favourite? I really do like the Blue Hole in Egypt. It's a bit of a special place.
Is there just one rope in there or is there no ropes? Like how does everyone just dive in there?
So there's a big hole and then they've got some cables that run across, like 100 metres, and then everyone goes and clips their freediving buoys. So you can get like 100 divers in there.
Wow. Do you bump into anyone?
Sorry?
Do you ever bump into anyone?
No, you don't because everyone's got their area. You stay on your rope
I see.
And then everyone's in their zone. Yeah.
So if it's packed, you just have to wait?
Like
do you have to take your turn or something?
Yeah. So when you go on a freediving buoy, like the perfect number is 3. So if we went out, myself, you and Jackson, and then that's our buoy.
Okay.
And then we're on where we just take turns and we look after one another.
I see.
And the next buoy could be 5 meters away and they're doing the same deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like rotation.
Rotation, yeah.
Yeah. And you do retreats with blue whales.
I do.
amongst other things, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
Tell us about it.
I just thought I really wanted to see the largest animal on the planet, and I should probably arrange a trip around it so that I can do that. And now so we go to Timor-Leste every year.
What?
Timor-Leste, so East Timor.
East Timor, yeah.
Yeah, so we head up there. It's called Timor-Leste now, and yeah, we stay in their capital called Dili. We stay there for a week, and yeah, each day we head out on these boats. So I charter a company there, and we use their boats. And there's a 6-week window, so I book it all in for there, and we just wait and we look for these almighty blue whales, and they're like 40, 50 tons. They're 30 meters long. You see them coming from the distance, and it is insane. Like I've got shivers thinking about it, because it is like they're just these big shiny silver things, and they're just coming out of the darkness, and they don't care about us, and they'll see us and they'll slowly move away.
How many of them are there? Is it just like one, or is there a pod?
Yeah, so at the time, like it's usually it's one, or you get like a mother and a calf cruising or something like that. It just depends what you come across. Sometimes you go there and you'll just see one for the day, or we'll spend the day with it. So we head up the coast and then we cruise down the coast with them.
Really?
Sometimes they don't want anything to do with us, and we get it. So we just let them be, and we'll go and look for another one.
What, do some others interact a bit more than others?
Some will interact. Some are like skittish, like they're like, oh shit, there's a boat on top of me and there's people jumping on me. So they're just not into it, and they take off. The blue whale trip is pretty special. There's not many people in the world that have seen a blue whale.
I think I'd like to do that.
I think you should do it.
Yeah, I think I'd like to. Jackson, we could make some good footage there.
You can make some good footage.
You want to see a blue whale? Yeah. So how do people...
How do they book?
How do they book with you?
So on my website, it's freedivingscentral.com.
Freedivingscentral.com.
Freedivingscentral.com. You jump on there, and then basically I've got a list of trips that I run. So like, I think I've got 15 trips booked in for this year.
So they don't have to go free diving, but they're just diving.
No, so yeah, that's the beauty
you're not
of
making people go 50 meters down.
No, this is all surface interactions. So like the water there is it's like a glass of water. It is clear, like the clearest water. That's probably actually my favorite place.
And these are for anyone.
For anyone. Yeah, no, so you just just need to be able to swim.
Okay.
Right? You don't even have to wear a weight belt. You just jump in the water.
Amazing.
Actually, we were there last, and because there's a few operators, and we got a call over the radio, and they said, we've got a 75-year-old here. Can we have the next drop? So everyone backed off. 75-year-old lady got in. They got her in position. She slowly got into the water and saw the biggest animal on the planet.
When's the next one?
Late October, early November. I've got 2 trips back to back.
Yeah, I think I'm going to talk to you about that. I think I'd really like to do that. Can we please end on what you're doing for kids?
Yes. So I have a program called Breathe for Life. Started a couple of years ago working with a mate of mine. He was a youth copper at the time. And basically Breathe for Life, we started... It's just basically using breath work and working with kids that are either homeless, they've either been in or out of jail, or they're just dealing with lives that none of us are used to. Like when I grew up, there was always food in the cupboard. These kids have never seen a house with food in the cupboard. So we actually got the funding. So Ryan, my mate, he arranged the funding, and we went out to Burke, and we went there, 2 days after Christmas. Santa had not been to Burke. It was pretty evident. So we worked with PCYC out there and the local police out there. And this program, we got to work with the kids, teach them breath work to deal with high stress situations, how to deal with like
when they get angry and things? Or?
When they get angry, when they get locked up, when they deal with domestic violence. The kids out there are dealing with some stuff. So we're giving them tools to sort of handle that. We got the opportunity to get them in the pool and show them some cool exercises and how to hold their breath. Also, that time of year, it's pretty like crazy up there, like a lot of like stuff happening. So it's an opportunity to give the kids like an activity to do. It's not like here where we can just go, I'm just going to duck down the beach and do something, or I'm going to go to the skate park. Like one, it's stinking hot, but there's also nothing for them to do out there. So yeah, it's pretty horrible. Like, to be honest, when I came back, it took me a few days to sort of unpack the experience that I had out there. Yeah, it's pretty emotional, pretty hectic.
Yeah.
So do that. Breathe for Life went there. we were able to get the funding to bring them to the ocean for the first time, which is cool. So the kids came from Burke. They met up with the Central Coast PCYC kids. And, we did a few days with the cops on the water out of the Hawkesbury. The kids stayed down at Umina on the beach there. So that was all these great experiences they got to have. And then we also took them to the city, did a freediving program there, went on the ferry, did all that sort of stuff. But, some of the kids from Burke, they couldn't work out what the houses were on the hill in Sydney. They're like, what's that? I'm like, that's houses. Like, they just hadn't seen that before.
And you do a lot of stuff with Coast Shelter?
I do. So now I work with Coast Shelter, which is a not-for-profit on the Central Coast, and I think they've got like 10 refuges. So now I'm working across a couple youth ones, and these are working with kids that are either just predominantly homeless, or they're the same deal, in and out of jail, or just struggling, or they can't be at home because of either DV or whatever. So I work with them on a 4-week program. They get to go to the house for 29 days, so I see them 4 times, and then I've got a program that I run through, one like introducing breath work, mastering breath work, and then in the end, if it all goes well, we try and get them in the ocean, and we introduce the ocean to some of these kids for the first time, which is pretty special.
Amazing. Must be rewarding. So see some of these kids.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to work it out. I was like, is it rewarding? Like, it's rewarding for them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just watching them.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like for me, I was like, wow, it's a great opportunity to be able to offer that. But I think for those kids, it's really rewarding. It's really cool.
And you run on donations?
I do run on donations. Solely. Yeah. So we have had government funding before for the PCYC project and with the police, but however, since I've started working with Coast Shelter, I'm purely self-funded.
How do the people donate to you? And it's not I didn't get you on here to donate things, but it's like, I think we're going to get behind you. So,
yeah, cool.
Yeah, where do people donate to you?
Just by getting in contact, and people, we've got an account, and
we might put something up, Jack, if we can. Yeah, mate, that's amazing.
Cool. Yeah,
thanks. Well,
it's pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'd love to stay in contact, and
well, I'd love to get you in the water. I think it'll be good.
if you are, all right. I might be one of those floating people, but
that's all right. That's all right. That's who we work with. We work with everyone. So, and it's what we do. So
only if Jackson does as well.
Yeah, we'll get Jackson in.
All right. Well, let's do that. Dan, thanks for coming on.
No worries.
Really appreciate it. It's awesome.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.